Hello and welcome to Channels Book Club. My name is Olakunle Kasumo, and it's always exciting to be on this show where we discuss all things books. And we've got one book with us today. It gets a bit controversial, if you may want to use the word, but it's a book that has intrigued me for the past few weeks. Africa, the Glory, the Curse, the Remedy. And guess who wrote this? A senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Senator Anthony Agbo, has written this. He said, after so many years of being curious about the black man, trying to find out the history of the black man, the challenges of the black man, why? Is there any problem with the black man? A question that a lot of people have asked, a question I have asked. Although very proud of being black, I've also asked that question. Is there a problem with the black man? Well, he came up with this book after researching for many years, and then he put everything together here. A book whose foreword was written by General Dr. Yakubu Gowon, former president of Nigeria. Well, here you'll find history, anthropology, archaeology, the Bible, all mixed together, and the senator offers a theory on the problem of the black man. Well, it's up to you to agree or disagree. But sit back, enjoy this conversation we had with Senator Agbo, and let's know what you think about it after.
Senator Anthony Agbo is a politician, an author, and a poet. He was elected the pioneer speaker of the old Enugu State House of Assembly at the age of 26 before the military coup terminated that transition after a year and 8 months. After the civilian government was restored, Senator Agbo was appointed Commissioner for Finance and later Commissioner for Public Utilities. He was later elected into the 6th Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria in 2017. Senator Agbo has authored several books, including Adoration of the King, Poems in Honor of the Great God, Power, Populism and Accomplishment, The Story of Jim Ifeanyichukwu Nwobodo, amongst others. He joins Channels Book Club to discuss his book, Africa, the Glory, the Curse, the Remedy.
Senator Agbo, nice to have you on Channels Book Club.
Thank you, Kunle. God bless you.
How is Abuja?
Abuja is fine, very fine.
you politicians, you are special people. I don't want to use the word strange, but strange is the appropriate word in my head when I think of politicians all over the world. But I mean, commendable. Throwing yourself out to serve. Yes. It's commendable, and I'm sure it must be a great experience. Fine. But exactly. Then, I was wondering when I read your book that, how did a senator of the Federal Republic write a book like this? It cuts across religion and history, and it's just an interesting read. Whether or not a reader agrees with everything you've written here, I have to say it's a very engaging read, one way or the other. So, well done putting this together.
Thank you.
Yeah, but for viewers out there who are watching, what's your book about? Africa, the Glory, the Curse, the Remedy.
Yeah, thank you so much, Kunle. This book, I want to say, came by inspiration. Naturally, I'm a curious person. And from my university days, I've been wondering, why are we Africans different from other races of mankind? Starting from our color. Why are we black? Why are we poorer than others? Why do we suffer diseases more than others? Why is our environment different? Why do we behave differently? This has been my curiosity. And I'm somebody that read books. I love reading. All manner of knowledge I read. So, but sometimes, and I also bother myself a lot about things that don't particularly concern me alone as an individual. And among the things that bother me so much is the African situation. So one day I was thinking about Africa very deeply, and inspiration came. I was spoken unto through my heart that the answer to the question you seek is in the scripture, is in the Bible. That any question you have about anything that is created is in the Bible. Then he told me, go and look through the bloodline. Identify the bloodline of the African people, and you will get the answer to what you are seeking for.
I found it very fascinating the way you, one couldn't argue with the way you explained the bloodline and the anthropological, archaeological, scientific facts you used to back, you know, your explanation. I found that very interesting.
Because even the ancient recorders who were not Africans also confirmed these informations outside the biblical story. Herodotus is a Greek man who is known as the father of history, the first historian on earth. He was a European, but he confirmed these stories. People like Strabo, you know, ancient Roman historian. Josephus was a Jewish, a Greco-Roman historian. All of them confirmed these stories. So it's not just the Bible alone.
But,
so all those ancient records established this, including the achievement of ancient Africans in Babylon and in Egypt.
So, okay, now, one of the things you mentioned here is the importance of understanding the history of ancient Egypt.
Yes.
That this is key.
Yes.
To understanding everything you're trying to say
and
here.
The fact is that ancient Egypt is the which is still the geographical location of the present Egypt, is the ancestral homeland of black Africans. That was where all the entire black Africans were living before, until the Middle Ages, when the Arab invaders came and conquered Egypt and scattered the indigenous people. And the original black Africans now begin to disperse to other parts of Africa until the Arabs took over that geographical habitation. So that the Egypt you have today, they are not the original indigenous owners of that land. They are not the people who built the pyramids. They are not the people who built the civilization of Egypt. It was black Africans. And if you look at the status of the pharaohs and the status of ancient Egyptian priests and their scientists and so on, you really know that they were all black people. All those mighty achievements, even the civilization of today has not attained the level the ancient black people in Egypt and Babylon did.
You try to explain, well, in some ways, the danger of not understanding this history.
Yes.
Is the cause of a lot of problems.
That is the basic foundation of the African problem. Because if you don't understand your root, then you are in trouble, particularly if you have a great root. Let me tell you, the greatness of America, Britain, and Europe derives from the history of the ancient Greeks. You know, because they feel that they are inheritors of, before Egypt was discovered, you know, when Napoleon Bonaparte invaded Egypt, that was when the entire achievement of Egypt was blown up to the knowledge of the entire world. Before then, the world believed that the ancient Greeks were the greatest of the ancient civilization. And Europe, America, Britain, they had this self-confidence and pride that they are children of ancient great people, people who formed the great world civilizations. But when Egypt, what happened, the achievement of ancient Egypt was discovered during the Napoleonic Wars in Egypt. It was really found out that ancient Greeks were just a people, while Egypt was like a headmaster. That what happened in Egypt was just the little they learned from the ancient black Africans in ancient Egypt. So that if this history is now ingrained in the heart of black Africans, it will resuscitate their sense of pride, you know, and the feeling of inferiority that pervade their life will disappear. and they will begin to act with courage and boldness and psychological inspiration that will take them to any height. So it is necessary and fundamental that Africans have to be taken back to their original history. What happened in ancient Egypt, the world until Christ come, we never get to that level. What the ancient Africans did in ancient Egypt.
So, Senator, you've attempted to establish the fact that Africa's history has not been properly told.
It hasn't been told at all.
Has been misunderstood.
It has not been told at all.
And is the basis of a lot of our problems.
Exactly, exactly.
And then, talking about Africa's history, you've also tried to explain here that it cannot be disconnected from ancient Egypt.
Of course. That is where, that is the ancestral homeland of black Africans. And all the civilization achievement of ancient Egypt is the legacy of ancestors of black Africans.
Now, but a lot of people will look at Egypt now and say, oh, Egypt are Arabs.
No.
You explain here that I think
the Arabs, just in the Middle Ages, 642 AD,
invaded.
That's when the Arabs came into Egypt.
Okay.
You know, the caliph, the Muslim caliphs, during their jihad. That's when they conquered Egypt. Encyclopedia Britannica observed it, that Egypt was Arabized in 642 AD. And the traditional ancestral owners of the land, the black Africans who achieved that civilization, now started dispersing to other parts of Africa. You know, before then, Arabs were not there. Egypt was not, you know, Arab nation was just made up of 7 nations, which were named here. Egypt was not part of original Arab nations. It was in the Middle Ages, 642 AD, that they came into Egypt, conquered Egypt, and chased away the black, because by then the empire of the Egyptians had collapsed.
So what now happened? Those ancient Egyptians, those black Africans, began to migrate, right?
Yes, they began to migrate.
As Egypt was being attacked or colonized,
by the Arabs.
And all that.
It was taken over by the Arabs.
Okay.
The real black.
Are they the ones that migrated to this side?
Yes.
Are we all from there?
All of you. All of you. All of you in West Africa, Central Africa.
Senator, when you look at Yoruba history, now Yorubas all agree that Oduduwa is central to, I mean, is a central figure when it comes to the history of the Yorubas.
Yes.
Father of Yorubas and all that. But there is a disagreement amongst Yoruba historians on where Oduduwa came from.
Okay.
Okay? So there is a school of thought, well documented, in literature written from 1900s up until recently, that Oduduwa came from Egypt.
There is no...
It's disputed though.
See,
but it's a major school of thought.
Let me tell you, whoever disputes, you see, if you read this book very well, carefully, you find out that the records are unquestionable. They are impeccable, because it derives from the earliest historical records. The opinion of people who were not even Africans, the ancient historians who were Europeans. Herodotus is a Greek. He's the first historian in the whole world. He belongs to thousands of years ago. He visited Egypt when Egypt was in power. And he wrote that Egypt was a land of black people. Black people didn't have any other homeland. Their eternal homeland, the original homeland, was ancient Egypt, then Ethiopia, then Libya, and then Canaan, which the Israelites took over later. These were the four sons of
Libya, Egypt, Ethiopia,
Ethiopia,
Canaan.
Libya, and Canaan.
Well, those are the
four sons of
settlements
Ham
of the four sons.
settled in these places.
Okay.
But before then, when the human population were still very few after the flood, all of them were together in Babylon.
So, you should have written an easier book. I'm sure some people must be calling you nuts.
No, it's not.
Conspiracy theorists.
It's not conspiracy. The records are very straight.
Yes.
Because when you have facts that are confirmed by people who are not your own people, independent opinion, then you just know that it is a fact.
Senator, you are beginning to make me sound like you now. Okay. Now, these pictures,
yes.
I mean, there are so many pictures in your book.
Start from page 22.
22, who is that?
That is Pharaoh.
King Nama.
That's the first Pharaoh of Egypt. Just look at the face.
This is a black man now.
Yeah, you don't need to be told that this is a black man. You know? If you check the face of the Sphinx,
3,273 to 2,987 BC.
BC, yes.
Wow.
That's the first Pharaoh of Egypt.
What's the source of this picture? Is it in a museum somewhere? Or,
yeah, even if you go to the Egyptian museum today, you see it.
You know, I've been wanting to visit Egypt. I've never visited Egypt.
People need to go there. That is, or everything you see there were done by ancestors of black people. You know, when you talk of the deliberate effort to erase that history,
yeah.
If you go to Egypt now, or if you just go to internet and start looking at the statues of pharaohs of Egypt, their priests and their statesmen and so on, virtually all of them, people knocked off their noses and their mouths in order to remove the
evidence.
The black African identity of those people. So you see that it was a deliberate action. People felt so uncomfortable that it is black people that would have achieved such a thing.
Senator, I was this picture here in
page
89.
Page 89, yes.
Yeah. Pharaoh Akhenaten.
Pharaoh Akhenaten.
Akhenaten. Okay, sorry about that. And then there's Manetho,
the ancient Egyptian priest.
And these are real pictures, right?
Yes, they are statues.
They are blacks now.
They are all blacks. That is what I'm telling you. They are all blacks. They are all blacks. There is no doubt about it. They are all blacks. Okay, look at page 73, Kunle.
73. Page 73.
Yeah, just look at Pharaoh Khufu.
Wow.
You don't need to be told. Even Pharaoh Sosostris. This Pharaoh Sosostris is the person who originated the idea of dividing lands into plots.
Wow.
And allocate them to people.
Interesting. So unfortunately, we are out of time, but you need to land the final thing, and very, very briefly. Now,
they have problem with God.
You now explained here, and this is the religious part, and I'm sure this is where a lot of people will probably be asking you questions.
I would always cherish a debate
depending on their own faiths. So you now said that harm was caused, right?
Not harm alone. Harm had already the entire African people, God pronounced curses upon them.
Through harm?
Not only through harm.
Through who?
The entire continent, because they had problem with God, starting from Babylon. It was black Africans that originated idolatry, worship of another god, gods of woods and stone. Nimrod was the person who originated idolatry. That is one. Secondly, it was black Africans, the pharaohs of Egypt, that enslaved the Israelites, the people of God, for 430 years. And remember what God told Abraham when God gave him a prediction that his people will be enslaved in Egypt. God added that, and the people who will enslave your people, I will judge. I will judge them. God already had established a course by pronouncing that he was going to judge the Egyptians.
So are you saying that the pains we're experiencing now are pains of the cause?
They are all related to the cause.
Are we stuck?
Even the failure of leadership.
Are we stuck?
We are not stuck because God gave a light at the end of the tunnel. If you look at the last page or the last chapter of the book.
Well, you have put your head on the chopping board with your ideas. I think they should get your book and read, and then they can. Anyway, then, Senator, we have to round up here. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And we look forward to speaking to you again some other time.
Whoever calls you about the book, please don't hesitate to give them my number to call me.
I will. Thank you, Senator.
So much.
Thank you. I wonder what you think about that. I told him you've put your head on the chopping board with this, but he's bold, he's courageous, he's done his research, and he's waiting for people to challenge him and ask him questions. He's ready to answer those questions. Senator Anthony Agbo. Interesting. Now, up next is a short report on a book that has recently been launched. Enjoy this.
Political stakeholders are gathered here for the launch of Dr. Peter Azonobi's debut book, Nigeria Beyond Buhari, at the Nigerian Institute of International Affairs, NIIA, in Lagos. Based on his research, the author of the book, Dr. Azonobi, an economist and political scientist, has put his thoughts together in a book to help Nigerians in their bid to elect new leaders in the 2023 general election. The 8th chapter book evaluates the political systems in Nigeria and the future of the nation. In his welcome address as a special guest of honor on the occasion, Dr. Abdulkarim Onokoya, a political scientist, gives his thoughts on the book.
We are having our general elections in some months ahead, to be precise, around March and April 2023. We need a book to prepare us ahead of the next administration, which Dr. Azonobi has actually put together.
Dr. Godwin Ichime, the book reviewer, explains what readers should expect from the book.
From causes to solutions, as well as from the leadership questions and governance to followership challenges, the book lays out not only the basis for the regeneration of the Nigerian state and its people, but more importantly, it outlined how the conditioning of political leadership can lead to a qualitative break with the past into a future of a corruption-free leadership and politics.
And it's time for the unveiling. In a chat with journalists, the author reveals what inspired the book and how Nigerians can benefit from his wealth of knowledge.
It is important, right, that we get the social system right. So the greatest thing this administration has done is to institute this foundation for the social system. And what is that foundation? Corrupt-free system of leadership, honesty. So with honesty, we can go anywhere. We can achieve anything we want in life.
Nigeria Beyond Buhari is a book that cuts across all sectors to ensure a working system for Nigeria.
And this is where we have to end the show today. As always, we're very delighted to get your feedback through any of our social media platforms displayed on your screen. My name is Olakunle Kasumo. Remember, one great book can change your life. Bye-bye.